Thank you, Nitya, for inviting me to moderate this session. We have with us a very uh, notable set of speakers, diverse speakers. Uh, Somebody who has led the infrastructure program for station redevelopment from the strategy, planning, and implementation perspective. Then we have expert who has Mr. Jugal Kishore, who has worked on the construction side for 35 years, almost 35 years across the various infrastructure projects like the metros, the rail, the airports, the dedicated freight corridor. And then we have from the operations side, Mr. Bhaskar Kumar Dan, who has essentially worked all his life in rail operations, metro operations, worked on 3 or 4 metros, now working in Maha Mumbai Metro Operation Corporation Limited. Just to, before I start, I'll just give a context to the discussions. The topic for our session is railway station redevelopment and infrastructure. Now, the Ministry of Railways has embarked on one of the largest infrastructure program. It is also and it is also one of the biggest TOD project in the world. And there are projects which have already been done, and I would also request Mr. Sood to comment on those projects and give his reflection on the project which have been inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister last year. And also, I think we would also want to hear from Mr. Sood. What is the outlook going forward for this entire program? Mr. Sood?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Karun, uh, for first of all for the introduction, and secondly for this very interesting question, because station redevelopment is not a new program. Everybody knows that Indian Railways have been trying to start this program since more than, I would say, 15 years. And because of various challenges in the model, so the actual work done is slightly on the lower side. And as you mentioned, last year we had the 2 stations. One is Gandhinagar capital in Gujarat, and second is Rani Kamlapati in Madhya Pradesh. So both of them were inaugurated, and both have been appreciated greatly by the people who visit these stations. So both are having this nice ambience. If you go to Rani Kamlapati, it has got such a nice concourse, and people feel that this is the kind of infrastructure which should be there at the railway stations. And earlier, Indian Railways were attempting that it has to be on purely on PPP basis, and the earnings from land monetization, those will be put in for redeveloping the stations. But that approach had many challenges, because the real estate itself has its own challenges. Once you mix it with station redevelopment, so it becomes even more challenging, and not many players were coming forward. And then the projects, various different approaches have been tried by Ministry of Railways, but those were not actually very successful. So now this year, after the joining of new minister for railways, Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav, so what has been done is that the approach has been changed, and now the whole program is going in 2 parts. So first is that let us build the stations with our own money in APC, and then whatever property development, whatever commercial development has to be done, that will be done parallelly. It is already part of planning, but it will be done parallelly. So currently the work is going on at nearly 200 stations across India. And as we speak today, I believe 8 tenders already out, another couple of tenders expected today. So there will be 10 tenders by end of today. So that we have got now next 3-4 months we will have 50 to 100 anywhere between 50 to 100 stations where we will be in tendering, and we'll award the works and very quickly start the work.
Good, Mr. Sood. Thank you for this information. I would also want to understand, now that we are on this important question of change in business model from a PPP kind of model to an EPC model, and separately developing the commercial real estate, which can pump in the money to basically return back the financing that is being done for EPC. I just want to understand that how is this financing being done for these 200 projects? What is the business model which is being explored for the station development?
In this last budget, so we had two works sanctioned for stationary development. So basically, it is the government funding which is being put in for the stationary development works in the initial phase, and this is actually also connected with national investment pipeline. So it is basically the investment infrastructure which is to be created. Now, stations are something which touches a very large percentage of people in India, and it has got its own multiplier effects in the surrounding area. The effort is actually, as you said, that the development has to be kind of transit-oriented development, so that the whole area, because this railways being a green mode of transport, a mass transport medium, so it has to be prioritized. So it has to be a convenient mode of transport. So the idea is that people should more and more use railways, and so the stations, if they are redeveloped, then it will have multiple benefits. Not just that we are having some investment, but also that there will be more people shifting to railways. Basically, the idea is to make railways as the with the current 21st century, what people want today's India, aspirational India, what people want, that is what we should get. Just like, let's say, at airports or metros, now those are kind of world class infrastructure which is already there. So railway infrastructure also has to go to those levels where they are logical, where there are no questions to be asked, and where the signage is, lighting, advertisement, retail, everything comes together. And also, one very important thing is that, let's say there is a metro, there is a railway station, there should be no disconnect.
Absolutely.
Everything should be actually come together beautifully. So that is the effort which is being made, and property development is the second leg which is being done independent of this, parallelly.
Okay. And who is doing the property development for these stations? Will it come under RLDA or will it come under the Smart City program? What is the construct so that the property development can go hand in hand with the station redevelopment?
Yeah, so there are two, three things. One is current. Earlier, you see that the work of stationary development was being done only by RLDA. Now it has been decided, and already all zonal railways, they have been involved in this process. So the planning, either it is being done by RLDA or by zonal railways, and this planning that is being done, so that takes into account not just the station requirement but also the property development requirements. So that is the first part. Second is, of course, RLD is the only agency which has got the rights to monetize the land on leasehold basis. So the property development has to be done by RLD only.
Okay, so
And
the
one
master
small
plan is that is developed for these stations is one comprehensive, complete master plan, and then the work for the railways redevelopment is done separately, and RLDA would take care of the commercial redevelopment portion of the project. Is
yes,
that the right
yes,
approach which is being
yes,
followed?
yes.
Okay. So one is on the strategy, and you have explained the strategy pretty clearly, and it is quite evident how Indian Railways wants to go ahead with this station redevelopment program. But one is strategy, other is the important component is the execution part. And for the execution part, we know in India, while we do a lot of planning, we start the project, but these projects undergo a lot of delay. There are a lot of challenges with the project. So I have with me Mr. Bhatti. He has worked uh, across the country on various infrastructure projects, and I would want to involve him in the discussion now and want to understand from him what does he think will be the or are the major challenges which are there in the implementation of such large programs. Station redevelopment program, as Mr. Sood has mentioned, 200 projects are going to come across the country, right? So what does he think are the major challenges and what should be done to overcome these challenges? Mr. Bhatti?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Uh, Sir, so far as this redevelopment of stations is concerned, you know that station redevelopment projects are basically transit-oriented development projects. And in urban planning, TOD is a planning strategy that aims to concentrate jobs, housing, services around stations. Hence, station areas which are nerve centers for the city needs linkage system in more thematic way to satisfy a diversity of needs. I can say Kuala Lumpur Central is one of the example of the transit-oriented development. So far as some of the key challenges are concerned, you see that the most of these are located in congested areas in city centers. Commercial development around stations may add to congestion and capacity of approach road infrastructure may be a constraint. Because I have worked in so many metro projects also, and it is my experience that this congestion of congested areas is one of the bottleneck for all these projects. Number two, it needs extensive discussions with the local authorities bodies, permissible FAR, multimodal integration, and approach infrastructure. Thirdly, there are the heritage clearance issues also, because it I have observed in metro projects in Agra, Pune Metro, then Banaras. There are so many heritage clearances are required. So this is one of the bottleneck. Most stations are brownfield ones. That means site have existing structures that architects have to modify in some way before the project can move forward. And next is we have to develop the different financial models as per requirements to make the project financially viable. And lastly, financial viability depends upon real estate market, which is cyclic in nature. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So what, according to you, Mr. Bhatti, because you have also worked on metro projects, they are different animals. I understand station redevelopment, and this is a brownfield project. Metros are more greenfield projects, but essentially both are constructed in urban areas in the middle of a moving traffic. Then the access is always a challenge, as you rightly said. Interface with other utilities, with other authorities is a challenge. So, can you pick some examples in the projects that you have worked on, where you have been able to overcome these challenges in a manner that you can expedite the progress of projects, you can accelerate the project progress? Mr. Bhatti?
Yes, sir. Uh, so far as this acceleration of the projects is concerned, I think that there is a need to sign the member of understanding with public sector undertakings and give them free hand so that the project should be completed on priority. This is one of the requirement. Number two, there is need to adopt a cluster approach by making public sector companies responsible to accelerate the redevelopment programs, and free hand should be given to complete projects. And thirdly, there is need that some of stations need to be taken on a public-private partnership, as has earlier done for Surat, Gwalior, Nagpur, etc. That is the request for quotation stays.
Okay, so here I would again want to bring in Mr. Sood, because Mr. Sood has overseen these two large projects which we were talking about. One is Gandhinagar, and the other is, of course, Rani Kamlapati stations, one on PPP, one on EPC. But in both cases, they have been done, and it is a significant achievement, I can say. One of its kind railway stations, and in significant or in a very less time compared to a lot of projects which are happening in India, and there's a lot of delay that we face. So, what is unique about the way the work happened for both Gandhinagar and Rani Kamlapati station, Mr. Sood?
Yes, very important. First is, of course, Mr. Bhatti has raised very pertinent questions, because any planning is difficult because of multiplicity of agencies. Lots of things are within railway control, lots of things are not within railway control. So yes, there is tremendous amount of coordination required with metros, with local authorities, with people who control the trees, people who control heritage. But railways have been working diligently and trying to make this coordination. In fact, people generally welcome, because as Mr. Bhatti said, that railway stations generally are in congested areas, and structural problems are there since the city has grown around in an unplanned manner. So wherever we have approached the local authorities, people are generally very welcoming. People are generally they are just waiting for somebody to come, and they have their own ideas. We generally, once we see the master plan, local authorities generally put their plans for next 20 years in the master plan. If we dovetail that into our planning, then generally people are very welcoming, because it's an investment into the city and it is trying to solve some of the city's problems in addition to solving the railway zone problems. So generally the reception is good, and it is actually that is the key to whatever we have been able to achieve in Rani Kamlapati or at Gandhinagar. The support from state government, the support from local authorities has been forthcoming, and it is more than what we can expect actually. So even for property development, lot of support was there. Okay, you please do something, and then we'll support you. So that is one thing, and the other is railway station working in their congested areas. Working is tough. So we had this. Both these projects were completed in under 4 years. So of course the planning was probably 2.5 to 3 years, but we had COVID, we had other challenges. So
Yeah.
despite the challenges, if within 4 years we are able to complete both of them, very complicated and actually the first projects. So if the first projects we are able to complete in time, so it is a very good actually.
Benchmark for
I
others
mean,
to follow.
yes, yes. And what we have done is actually, again, looking at these questions, we have actually done a separate exercise. We want to modularize everything, make the scheme standard so that anybody coming to the station doesn't have to start thinking what to do. So a lot of standardization, lot of whatever we have learned from these two stations, we are transferring to the next set of stations, so that in the future the project should be executed even faster. So we are now targeting within 2 to 3 years, all the stations should be complete. So that is yes, it is challenging, but yes, we are finding ways to address them.
Yeah, Mr. Sood, I think you have. Thank you so much for enlightening our listeners, because I know 4 years for a railway station, and that too, which is an operational railway station. It's a brownfield project. You have to take the power blocks. You have to take these blocks because the trains are passing, and you have to also work when the trains are operational. Is a big challenge. And in spite of all that, finishing a project with 2 years of COVID in 4 years is something I think which every one of us should be proud of. And you have sent a template for other stations to follow. Uh, so now I want to bring in Mr. Bhaskar into the discussions. Mr. Bhaskar, you have been all your life in rail operations, and you have been dealing with the passenger behavior, the customer experience. From your experience or from your perspective, what should be the key features, facilities, and amenities, right, which should be there while redesigning a station?
Uh, yes, thank you for the panelist to give me the opportunity. Uh, for my concern, for my experience, I am facing lots of problem while visiting the Gandhinagar, as the sir said, that Gandhinagar station is really fine, very good. But the main concern we are facing in many stations, railway stations, we need to redevelop as a passenger point of view, and the challenges we are facing as a operation staff or operational, like our focus mainly focus on the commercial activities, and for the passenger point of view, the last mile connectivity to the stations and the provisions are not provided at the station levels. Last mile connectivity provisions are not, and the multimodal transport facilities, as the railway has lots of space near to the Gandhinagar station and the other Ahmedabad station and the Mumbai station, lot of spaces are there. It is unutilized right now, and this can be utilized for the multimodal facility, multimodal transport. We can utilize it efficiently. And the second thing, the lots of stairs are there. The stairs are consuming more space at the station level. I request you that more these stairs can be replaced by escalators or the lifts, so that the space of the stairs can be minimized, and that space can be utilized for the commercial activity. As an operations guy, we are focusing on the non-fare box revenue, and for the non-fare box revenue, we have to generate maximum revenue from the non-fare box. So as Sud sir had already informed that they have developed multimodal facilities and everything at the station level, and the Mr. Bhatti is already defined it. And second thing we are facing as a operation, we need to redevelop the station in concept of uh, offices and the property development. As stations are there, metro stations are there, or the railway station there, and the connectivity to the station to the offices are very far in the Mumbai like cities and Delhi like cities. We have to develop that station come offices for the multinational companies. We can develop like the Pragati Maidan of the Delhi. We developed the Pragati Maidan of Delhi, that metro station is there, and above that station we have multi-story building. We developed the multi-story building for the offices purpose. So it is the main concern and main challenges we are facing. But we are giving the suggestions to while considering and while preparing any stations, these should be taken into consideration.
So coming to multimodal facilities and a point well raised by Mr. Bhaskar, I want to bring in Mr. Sood again, uh, especially from the perspective of this Rani Kamlapati station, where I believe there is a five-star hotel which is being built over the station. Am I right, Mr. Sood? And can you
Well,
explain the business model, how it is working?
yeah. So basically,
You are on mute, Mr. Sood.
no, no,
We
I'm
can't
not.
hear you.
Are people able to hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes. So if you see, if you go to Rani Kamlapati, so you will find that there is a railway station. On both sides of this, there are two commercial buildings. And now the access for commercial buildings has been provided in such a manner that does not interfere with the railway's own operations. Now, if you go to Gandhinagar station, then you have got this five-star hotel, 300-room five-star hotel above the tracks, and which is a unique feature of that particular railway station. And there also the planning has been done that the commercial activities can go on simultaneously without affecting the train operations. So in our case, what Mr. Bhaskar is saying is that yes, we should maximize the commercial areas within the railway stations. So that we have been able to achieve in both the cases, both Rani Kamlapati as well as Gandhinagar stations. That has to be done, should be done, because transit oriented development means that utilizing the same space for multiple uses so that people don't have to leave the transit modes. So whether it is the railway or the metro, so people shouldn't, just like Pragati Madan example which Mr. Bhaskar gave. So you get down from the metro station, go into the building, again go into the metro. So you have not actually gone into the city at all. So,
Yeah.
from your house, then you never have to use another mode. Why it should be like in Mumbai, they advertise that it is within 1 kilometer of the railway station. So, let it be on the railway station. Let it be in the walking distance of the railway station. Let it be the most prime property at the railway station, not within so many meters or kilometers from the railway station. So that is the idea of transit oriented development, and that is, yes, for all the stations that we are developing, that is the core idea basically.
Okay. Uh, So now coming back to Mr. Bhatti, I want to, Mr. Bhatti, you have done so much of construction in the metro projects. You have done Jaipur Metro. You have been involved with the Pune Metro. You have been involved in Noida, Greater Noida Metro. I want to understand, what do you think in structures like these, the station structures? What, in your view, is on the critical path? Where are the most challenges where you face? Is it to the do with interfacing with various contractors and subcontractors? Is it the land issues? Is it the civil construction, the labor issues, the plant and machinery, the access issues? What is it, according to you, in your experience, is the most challenging part when you construct a station building?
Sir, I think it is more the interface issues are there. Because
Okay.
so far as the land issue is concerned, once the planning has been done, I think by that time we have already acquired the land. So far as the station area is concerned, but most of the time, because so many agencies are working there, civil, S&T, mechanical, and there are sometimes there are interface issues I have observed. That is one of the major issues at the stations only. Otherwise, I think there is no other issue at all.
Okay. Mr. Sood, I'll come back to you on the same question because of the fact that you have been involved in these two construction of these stations. What did you find when you were constructing these stations? What was your experience in terms of what challenges, because it took 4 years, as you rightly said, what challenge, specific challenges did you face during the construction of these projects?
Major challenge was the utilities. So that is because before we construct the foundations, we have to find out where the utilities are, and we have to work so that the utilities are not disturbed.
Yeah,
And railway utilities, anywhere utilities can be very critical. So sometimes the main SCADA cable is there, or main sewerage is there, main water supply pipeline is there. So those we have to take care of. So that was one very major challenge. The other was the limited space and limited time that we have got. So in the first two projects, we have done a lot of work, which was in situ concreting, in situ casting of members was there. So probably for future, what has been identified is that probably we have to go for more and more precast, modularized, prefabricated, pre-engineered. Do as less work as possible at site. So do offsite work and then launch the thing. So that is a lot better than doing everything in situ. So of course, lot of prefabricated things have already been used at these two projects, but we need more of that. So that is the major. If you ask me, that these are the two major things: utilities and how much prefab work you can do.
okay. Coming back to Mr. Bhaskar, I want to understand because you are you are operating these metro stations and you're part of that operations. What role does technology today play in managing the users or the customers, and how can you enhance the experience using technology in these stations? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, in metro sector right now we are using like the QR code technology for the fare work, and Indian Railway already generated it. And in metro sector we have the QR code and the phone app based ticket facilities are there. So no need to buy the ticket from the counter, and it will minimize the ticket counters, and it will also help to minimize the manpower deputed at the station. And so this technology we are using in metro sector. We need to high take this more technology according to the some I have written there. The Wi-Fi connection already started in railway sectors also, and we are also providing in metro sectors. The Wi-Fi connections is there, and technology, the uh, artificial intelligence of the CCTVs monitoring that covers each and every portion of the stations, and it is monitoring the every section, every dark spots of the stations, and this technology we are using right now in metro. And also railways enhances this, and railways also using this. So this type of technology. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, Mr. Sood, in those two stations, I again keep coming back to you because of the fact that you have overseen those projects. What Mr. Bhaskar has mentioned, are these facilities available in the two stations that we are talking about? Does it have Wi-Fi? Does it have the advanced CCTV cameras to regulate the passengers and also to enhance customer experience? You have other facilities available, and there is enough provisions available to take care of the safety and security of the passengers and the assets.
Well, yes. So what Mr. Bhaskar has pointed out are the most important aspects of stations, because these buildings and whatever we make that does not touch the people directly. So what people want is an experience, and that experience comes once we know what people want
Yeah,
and where people want that. So the facility has to be at the right location. So you have to have that understanding of the passenger behavior. Of course, you can monetize it also by putting in the right kind of retail, right kind of advertisements at the right locations. But more than that, the safety aspects and the convenience aspects. So those are important. And the stations, the specifications, if you see for all the stations which are being developed, they talk about that the stations have to be smart. They have to have that building management system, SCADA, and these layers of artificial intelligence, these layers of they have to still come up. Actually, there is a lot of work to be done. We are not there yet, so we have all the right intentions. The scaffold is there, but yes, the people have to come up with innovative solutions. So how to run these stations with less energy intensity? Already we are talking about SCADA, switching off the lights when they are not required, motion sensor lights. So lots of technology is being put in, but probably we can go even better. And once it is a smart system, then of course we can keep on adding to a different modules. So that is the beauty of today's systems. So yes, those are already, the baby steps have already been taken. We have got wonderful SCADA BMS system at Rani Kamalapati station, which people, which integrates everything actually, the building management and the CCTVs and the other facets of station management, so that you can control everything from one single room. So that is a very good step, and of course we'll build on this and then come up with more and more technologies, and try to give better facilities to the passengers.
Okay. And so given that there are 8,000 stations in the country, today we are targeting, as you said, 200 stations. What is the big picture for these stations, Mr. Sood, if I may ask you?
Well, that's a important station question. I was waiting for it. So some a few corrections here. 200 station, the work is going on as on date, and we intend to scale it up. So we want to cover all the major important stations. So the 200 is not the end, that is just the beginning. So that is one small correction. So that if we see against 8,000, so the idea is to change the image of the railway station, change the image of railways, change the image of railway as a mode of transport. Secondly, we are coming up with mega stations, so which I actually in the first question I failed to add. So New Delhi and Mumbai, these are two iconic stations which are being taken up. So they are huge stations. So New Delhi is 4,500 crores plus, and the CSMT station again is 1,500 crores plus. So huge stations. So these also have been taken, and there the model is slightly different. So it is not EPC there. It is a HAM model, basically hybrid build on transfer model. So there it is partly PPP. So that those also are coming up on 30 years concession. So we are now ambitious. We want to actually change the whole, because it is overdue. I believe after the airports are modernized now, even the bus ports have been say Gujarat, Maharashtra, a lot of work has been done. So now probably this is the last frontier kind of a thing, that okay, this also has to be conquered. So government has shown tremendous willpower, and we are working very hard so that this dream of redeveloped stations comes into fruition.
This is fantastic to know. This is very heartwarming to know that there is emphasis beyond this 200, and these are the big stations, as you rightly talked about, the Delhi and the Mumbai ones. They will be the big ones. I want to go back to Mr. Bhatti. I want to understand from Mr. Bhatti that what do you think? Because Mr. Sood touched upon it, that now the mode of construction is slowly changing. The way we do the construction is changing. It used to be cast in situ, but now more and more we are veering towards the precast technology. We are looking at ways and means in which the station construction can be expedited, accelerated. What, according to you, Mr. Bhatti, how the stations of future are going to be constructed so that they can be implemented or constructed uh, quickly or within time, within budget? How is the trend going to be going forward, Mr. Bhatti, as far as construction of stations is concerned?
Sir, if you see in metro projects, presently we are doing the precast segments. Either it is a 3 meter segment or it is a 27 meter U girder. So I think when we are using 27 meter U girder, then a lot of space is required. So far as the 3 meter segments are concerned, these are required, then the less space is required. So I feel so that if the stations are being casted with 3 meter segment, then it will be a very fast work. So we can say that precast structure will be better option in future.
Okay. I want to also understand this, and from Mr. Sood and Mr. Bhaskar, then we have touched upon it, but I just wanted to get into some more details on the commercialization aspects, the non-fare aspects of the project. And today, I don't think there is enough earning coming from the current stations, the railway stations, as far as the non-fare revenues are concerned. how much is what is being planned, Mr. Sood? You would have run some business model, done some business, some crunching. Of course, it depends on station to station, location to location. But what is your understanding that if we take a lot of measures, how much of the percentage of the total revenues of the stations can come only from station non-fare box?
In our case, the mix is different than metros. So these are two unique cases. So Mr. Bhaskar will be able to cover what is happening in metros and what metros are targeting. But in our case, the segment is slightly on the lower side in general. Of course, we have got a lot of AC passengers also. And currently, the spaces in railways are not optimal for these retail kind of things to work very well, actually. And still the kind of models we have made, so they will actually force the whole model to undergo a change. The new concept that we are bringing in is what is called a rooftop plazas kind of a thing, so where it is actually right above the tracks, people are waiting at one large space. Currently we have people who wait on the platform, so we want to change that. People should be in a large space which is right above the track, so people want to be near the track so that they don't miss the train, so we understand that. So these rooftop plazas, huge rooftop plazas, they are coming right above the tracks, and it will be very comfortable, and then very quickly people can go and catch their train once they are done with their waiting. And so that is what we are expecting is probably the capital cost can't be recovered through the retail or the advertisement or other facilities at the station. But at most of the stations, we find that the operating cost, electricity, water, staff costs, cleaning costs, so those costs and a bit more can be recovered by the commercial activities when we see business as usual. But what we feel is that going forward, just like we have seen these multiplexes evolve, now there is a special kind of thing. Wherever you go, there is a standard format. These are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of shops which will be there, and now people probably 300, 400 rupees they will be able to get very good food. Now probably we need to have retailers, the advertisers, the aggregators coming together, and probably make some other model for people who are on the move. So Indian Railways have got the scale. Lots of stations are there, and lots of footfalls are there. Every day it is something like 2 crores people traveling by trains every day on a normal day. So 2 crores is a huge number, and if you see the major stations, probably 70% footfalls are at these major stations only.
Yes.
So once this whole the people start understanding this segment properly, so probably we'll be able to meet the experience of the advanced countries where they actually are able to generate much more revenue than they spend at the railway station. So railway stations become a profit center. So
Absolutely.
currently we are aiming that at least there should not be any additional cost. Once they are built, there should be no additional cost at the station. But going forward, we are looking that they will be converted to profit centers.
Yeah, given the scale and the volume that we have, and if we plan it well, I think it is possible. And if that happens, it can change the entire uh, complexion, the way we look at stations. Bhaskar, coming to you, what is your experience on the non-fare part, and what do you think would it be able to recover your cost, non-fare and TOD, if planned properly?
Yes. From the metro sectors, and we are actually the designing of the, as Bhatti already said, sir, that we are designing the station in such a way that the space of the each and every spaces of the under the escalators, under the stairs, and this is spaces we are using for the kiosk, and the multiple shops are there, and we are also collaborate with the Google. Google is providing the complete location of the station to from his residence to the number of steps where the stairs are there, where the exact escalators are there, and by giving this contract, we are earning about, we have a target to earning 10 to 15 crore from the Google by giving this type of rights to the Google. And for branding of the station, wrapping of the trains, and we are giving the offices above the stations. We have a target to raise earning from 70 to 100 crore from the brand. In this way, we are raising the non-fare box revenue from the different types of sectors.
Okay. Good to know this. I think we are coming to the end of the session. It has been a delightful exchange of ideas, and I think we've touched upon the major components of this large program, whether to do with program strategy or planning and structuring of projects, the construction side of the projects, and during the operational aspects of the project, how the money can be recovered, non-fair aspects. Before we go and we finish, any last comments from the panelists? And I will start with Mr. Sood and then Bhaskar and then the last parting comments by Mr. Bhatti. Yes, Mr. Sood.
I think we have covered most of the areas, and thanks for moderating it excellently. Last is, of course, there are all the people who are in the audience, so people should participate. Lots of tenders are coming out. We need people who are the contractors, those who are the suppliers, those who can add to the this thought process. It is an evolving thought process. Lots of innovation, lots of learning from other sectors are required. So it has to be a collaborative effort. Already we are involving lots of professionals in designing, not so not just that. So we need to work on people who can actually create that magic. So we need that kind of a magic working so that everything comes together. This design, this location of stairs, whatever, these are very small things what Mr. Bhaskar just said, but these are so very important for the people. So somehow everything doesn't come together unless we have solved everything. So we need people who understand the different dimensions, not just one dimension. I'm an engineer, so I see only maybe the structure. No, not that way. We need people who understand the structure and the ambience and the lighting and how the advertisement works, and then bring everything together. Okay, now it is something which people will feel delighted. So that is what we need. So I'll invite the audience now to take it forward from whatever we have done and take it forward.
Very important messages, Mr. Sood. Very important messages. What about Mr. Bhaskar? Any parting comments?
Uh, no, at all. But while designing any stations, we have to cover the main focus on the facilities to the passenger, hygiene to the passenger, and during redevelopment of the station, we have to focus on non-fare box also. That is the major part which gives contribution to the earning to the any company, any organization. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Bhatti, last but not the least, Mr. Bhatti, any final shot, any final comments?
I think, sir, we have discussed all issues. Should I ask one question from Mr. Sood, sir? That is coming
Please
in
do it.
my
We don't
mind.
have much time, but very quickly
Yeah,
you can ask
it
and
is
he may.
only, sir, half a minute, sir. Can
Okay.
Mr. Sood elaborate, sir, what is the root cause ki now the IRSDC and they are planning that this station development will be done by the concerned zonal railways. Earlier, I can see that most of the public sector rise and they were doing some of the station works. What is the root cause now? They have shifted that this work will be done by the concerned divisions only.
Okay, so this is a question I was waiting for. So the moderator probably was too modest not to ask this question. Well, first, see, the whole program has undergone a complete change over the last 1 year. So earlier the program was diffused, so many agencies working. Now what has been done is that multiplicity of agencies has been eliminated. So one is IRSCC has been ordered for shutdown. I am the CEO of the company trying to shut it down, and now everything is being spearheaded by RLDA. So RLDA is the agency which is taking everything forward, and now zonal railways are an extension basically of RLDA. So whatever zonal railways are doing, it is being guided by RLDA. So that is how now everybody is working in sort of close coordination. And basically now it is like impatience that the stationary development works have to see the light of the day. It is now we can't leave it that okay, by and by the things will be done. So now it is being done in a mission mode or some sort of a targeted way. So that is why the thinking was changed, and that is why there is some change of strategy.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think with this we have come to the end of the session. Thank you so much, dear panelists. It has been a delightful session, a lot of learnings, a lot of things to take back, and thank you for your time.